And then now we're down sadly to the last but not least demo of the night. It is by the food blogger behind A Duck's Oven and the author of Everyday Sous Vide, It's All French to Me, and Sous Vide Meal Prep, which just came out. She was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and has been food blogging for over 10 years. She spends most of her free time in the kitchen. When cooking became her stress outlet in college, it remains so today. So please help me welcome, from A Duck's Oven, Chelsea Cole.
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea Cole. I am the food blogger behind A Duck's Oven and cookbook author of 2 books, Everyday Sous Vide and the newly published Sous Vide Meal Prep, which I am so excited to be sharing a recipe from with you today. So today we are actually going to be doing my Chipotle Mustard marinade and sauce from the book. So my new book, Sous Vide Meal Prep, is a collection of recipes designed to help you utilize your freezer and sous vide cooking to make meal prep even easier from week to week. The whole idea being you can prep a bunch of food in advance, vacuum seal it, freeze it, and then sous vide it off when you need to cook meals throughout the week. So for example, right now I have 23 ready to go meals in my freezer downstairs in a variety of marinades, rubs, some just seasoned basically with salt and pepper, and this cookbook has a ton of sauces that you can finish them off with after they're done sous videing. So all kinds of things. And so for the grilling demo today, which I'm super excited about, we're going to be doing this Chipotle mustard marinade and sauce on a bunch of bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. We're going to be sous videing them, or marinating, sous videing, and then I'm going to be finishing them off on my Green Mountain grill, which is like a smoker grill hybrid like a Traeger. So I'm really excited to share this recipe with you today. So this marinade is a spicy one. It's a lot like a hyped up barbecue sauce. In fact, it uses some barbecue sauce in the recipe. So this is for my people who aren't afraid of a little heat. I'm also going to be making some grits cakes to go with this today. So I'm going to show you kind of the basics of how to do that. It's one of my favorite things to pair with a dish like this, and I think that you'll really like them. But first things first, let's start with the marinade. This one requires a little bit of blending. I keep things really easy and just use my NutriBullet, but you can totally just use a food processor, blender, whatever you got, whatever works best for you. I just find that this makes cleanup a little bit easier, so I like to use it for small quantities. All right, so all ingredients just go right into the blender. So we're going to be doing some barbecue sauce, or some brown sugar first, then some barbecue sauce. Just use whatever barbecue sauce you want. I recommend not using a spicy barbecue sauce because this is already going to be a spicy marinade. I am a sucker for like Stubbs Original. I think it's a great one, but whatever you like best, you use. Then we're going to be doing some chipotles and adobo. So these you should easily be able to find at your grocery store. They're in a small can. I should have saved the can for you. Let me see if I still. So here's what the can looks like. So you just want whole chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. So we're doing, you can do 2 to 3 chipotle peppers. I'm doing 3 because I want a good kick. And then about a tablespoon of the sauce that's in the can. Next up, some Dijon mustard. And all these ingredients together might sound a little funky, but I promise you they make for an incredible marinade. Specifically, I'm referring to this next ingredient, which is lime juice. And then 6 garlic cloves. Last but not least, some salt. Then we're just gonna blend this all up until smooth. So in the cookbook, I have pages for for several proteins, about 14, that tell you how long to cook it, at what temperature, and what my personal favorite times and temps are. So you can see on this page, which I don't know if you can see actually, I have a list of the different marinades and sauces in the book that I recommend pairing the proteins with. But also on the marinade and sauce page, I have my recommendations here for what I recommend pairing them with. So for example, for this sauce, today we're going to be using bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, but I'm also good with breasts, a whole chicken or turkey meatballs, shrimp, pork chops, and pork shoulder are all fabulous pairings for this marinade too. So what I'm gonna do now is just dump this all over the chicken, and then I'm just going to rub the marinade into the chicken thighs. All right, so now I'm going to add to a chamber vac bag, or you can just use a zipper top freezer gallon bag, but I'm gonna use a chamber vac bag because I'm lucky enough to have a chamber vacuum sealer. And I'm gonna add them to that, and then at this point, you can either freeze and have this ready to go at a future date, or I'm today just going to let it marinate for a couple hours and then get it started in the sous vide water bath. Okay, we are ready to cook. So I'm gonna do these at 155 for 2 hours. Sometimes if I have the time, and just depending on how I want to eat my chicken that day, I'll do 165 for 6 hours for like a really shreddy, fall off the bone texture. But today I'm going to err more towards a meaty side, so we're doing 155 for 2 hours, and then like I said, I'm gonna finish on my Green Mountain Grill. I keep mentioning these in these videos, but if you don't have sous vide magnets yet, I highly recommend getting them. They're on Amazon. Mike and Jason turned me onto them, and they are fantastic. They just keep your food submerged for you without using ping pong balls or anything else, and they're awesome. Okay, so let's make those grit cakes that I talked about. So I just made grits according to package instructions. I'm using Bob's Red Mill grits. Use whatever you want. Again, just do it to package instructions. I am also adding in a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Tillamook Farm style shredded cheddar is my favorite. Okay, so then I'm just going to pour them. First, I'm going to grease this pan and then pour them in. So you want a layer that's like about a 1/2 inch thick. You can go thicker if you want to. It's kind of up to you. So I'm using not quite a full-size sheet pan, and there's another reason for that. I'll show you in a minute. So you're just going to want to spread these into a relatively even layer. It's okay if it doesn't even go quite all the way to the edges. You just want them in a flat layer. Okay, so now we want to chill these grits down. So you can stick them in the fridge if you have plenty of time, or if you want a shortcut, or if your fridge is perpetually really full like mine, you can take a bigger sheet, put a bunch of ice on it, stack this right on top, and it's gonna do the trick. Okay, so now the chicken is done sous videing. So as I said earlier, you can finish it on your smoker or on the grill. I'm going to finish mine on my hybrid smoker grill. I'm probably going to do, since I'm just doing a short amount of time just to finish them off, I'm probably going to do about 200 degrees for 45 minutes or so, just until the skin is crispy and there's some smoky flavor imparted. If you want to grill, just do like medium-high heat. They are a little fatty and want to help you avoid flare-ups there. Just until you get that skin nice and crispy and a little bit of a char on there is what you're looking for. And then we can move on to finishing up these grit cakes. And make sure to save the liquid in the bag because you're going to use that to baste a little bit. So whether you're grilling or smoking, you want to make sure to use that to just kind of baste as you go. It's going to really, really amp up that flavor. Okay, so now for these grit cakes. So I want mine to be on the small-ish size, like not huge. So I'm just going to use a glass with a relatively small mouth. You can use a biscuit cutter if you have one, whatever you like, just something circle. And you're just going to cut circles out through the whole thing. Keeping in mind, this is not a dough. It's not going to be quite as perfect, but you should still get a decent biscuit shape that can hold its shape. And similar to biscuits, when you have all those dough scraps at the end, squish them up and redo. Now I'm going to refrigerate them for another 20 minutes or so, just to really set them up in this shape, and then we'll pan fry them. Okay, here we go. The chicken thighs are done. So now what I like to do before serving, this is totally personal preference, but especially in this case, because I'm going to put them on top of those cakes. I like to remove the bone and slice them up. And I think you just get like a better serving for each one. I eat more than one chicken thigh in a sitting. And it makes it easier to store and reheat leftovers. So that is what I do. So I just use a paring knife to remove the bones and then we'll slice them up. Okay, let's assemble. We are going to start with the grits cakes. Just a few on each plate. Make them your prettiest ones, of course. And then I actually cooked down some kale and a little bit of the bag liquid. So I'm gonna top that on there too. That was great. And then I just added a squeeze of fresh lime as well. Then top with plenty of chicken. So again, you don't have to dice it like me. I just do it for easier eating, easier portioning for later. But I don't think it's that ugly of a presentation either to chop it, so I'm fine with it. And then I took some of the ranch that's in my cookbook. It's from my friend Ashley. It's a fantastic recipe. It's also on her blog, Millennial Kitchen. And I mixed some of it with the bag liquid and a little extra of the adobo sauce from the can of Chipotle and adobos to make sure it's nice and spicy. I'm just gonna drizzle that on there. I'm a big fan of ranch. I think that it has a reputation for being like a not so fancy condiment, but when made well, it's fantastic, and you can dress it up in 1,000 different ways. I have a bunch of variations in the book, and it's one of my favorite things. And then some green onions. And that is that. Pretty delicious if you ask me. Looks fancier than it actually is, and I'm really excited to eat it now. Thank you for hanging out with me as I made this. Recipes will be available for you, and I hope you love this recipe. And I have to plug it one more time. I hope you love my cookbook. It's available on Amazon if you'd like to purchase it in both paperback and hardcover, which is very exciting to me. And thank you for hanging out with me today.
Such great stuff from Chelsea. Her new cookbook looks great. I saw a copy of it, digital one, before it came out, and I was a big fan of it. So please check out her cookbook. Give her some love in the comments. We had a question from Kelly who asked, do you have to marinate the chicken breast before sous vide, or can you simply cook for an extended time in the marinade? I know people are very passionate about marinades on both sides of the aisle, but I think one thing that most people agree with is that marinades affect raw foods different than they affect cooked foods. So if you throw it in a marinade and then you put that directly in a sous vide bath, you're going to start cooking that meat very quickly, and the marinade will react differently to that cooked food. So if you like doing marinades and using those, I usually recommend marinating it like you normally would, and then you can take it out and cook it at that time. But with it being a cooked food, it's not going to get the same type of effect on the meat as it would otherwise.